And welcome back to our Heroes of the Atari Cluster campaign. However, today we don't have a normal mission briefing, we have a Scramble mission as the squadron's base is being attacked by the Empire. So to briefly run through the rules for this mission, for anybody that's not familiar with it, this is an atmospheric mission for a change, so there will be some extra bonuses like things like mountains and also the skimming rule if you're not familiar with it. Essentially what is going on in this particular mission is two of our squad members chosen at random, it turns out Meatball and Starbone were the winners, are on a combat air patrol while everybody else is on the base. The objectives for our squadron are fairly straightforward. If they can escort the main transport off the table, that will be the primary mission successful. If all of the squad members make it off, the secondary mission will also be successful. Additionally, there is a hidden objective because in this particular mission the party will have control over not just Switch's U-wing, but also a bunch of technicians that are flying Z95s. Each player will both control their own ship and also one allied ship. The hidden objective is to get all friendly ships off the table. This includes the transport, the squad, plus all the Z95s and their technicians, and also Switch. Of course, therein lies one of the snafus with this particular mission because only two squad members actually have their ships up and running. Everybody else will have to attempt to start their ships in the first few turns of the mission. While a ship is on the ground, it has 0 shields and 0 agility. So it is imperative that they start their ships quickly, although this does use the hyperspace rules, so the more turns that you attempt to do it, the more likely it is to succeed, and it will essentially auto-succeed on turn 3 regardless. As far as the Imperial forces, we have endlessly respawning waves of TIE fighters and TIE bombers that will attempt to destroy the transport and also the base, and also any party members that get in their way. On top of that, we also have ground forces consisting of 4 ATSTs and 5 squads of stormtroopers that will also be approaching the base. The mission kicks off with both Meatball and Starbone beginning to vector in on the incoming TIE fighters and TIE bombers to attempt to provide a distraction and potentially pull as many Imperial ships as they can away from the transports and their vulnerable comrades on the ground. On the first turn, about a full half of the ships do successfully start up and start moving. As the TIE fighters and bombers approach, Starbone uses a well-timed stop and Meatball slams on the gas to get away from the main firing arcs of the enemy formation and attempt to split their efforts. As they're doing this and their squad mates are getting off of the ground, the technicians are sent to be a distraction for the ground forces, while the main body of the squad along with Switch attempts to take out the TIE fighters and TIE bombers. As will surprise absolutely no one who has flown alongside Meatball in the past, Meatball proceeds to drop numerous bombs that also create a bit of a distraction for the TIE fighters in addition to dealing considerable damage. With that being said, as the TIE fighters peel off to deal with the harassing rebel forces, the bombers stay focused on their objective, the transport itself. While this is happening, the technicians in the Z95s proceed to engage the stormtroopers and ATSTs, although they find out very quickly that the weight of fire from the stormtroopers and ATSTs at close range is rather withering as they start to take substantial damage. Several turns in, and the party has provided enough cover that the transport has been able to fully load and start its engines up as it begins to slowly move away. It will accelerate more as the time goes on, however initially it is moving quite slowly. While that is happening, two new contacts appear. These are Imperial Special Forces TIE Interceptors that have been dispatched to eliminate the rebel forces. As the party is busy dealing with the TIE fighters and attempting to distract them, some of the TIE bombers do start to make their way towards the transport, and additionally, the weight of fire from all of the stormtroopers and ATSTs, while each individual shot is not that threatening, do start to drag down the Z95s. In the maelstrom of ground fire and also the Imperial Special Forces Interceptors, Slacks finds themselves in a bit of trouble and ultimately has to beat a hasty retreat, trying to catch up to the transports and not be destroyed. As he's doing this, Big Red 1 does destroy the final TIE bomber, eliminating the immediate threat to the transport, although given its slow speed, if they don't provide a distraction for the TIE fighters, it is still in some danger. As the squad starts to whittle down the TIE fighters and destroy the initial wave of TIE bombers, more TIE fighters and bombers start to arrive. The stormtroopers and ATSTs are also making their way to the base. Although they have taken some casualties, they are comparatively light. So the ultimate fall of the base is merely a formality, and this is simply an evacuation. With the initial wave of TIE fighters defeated and one of the two Imperial Special Forces interceptors gone, along with the transport heading towards the exit, the rest of the squad starts to make its way into orbit and to hyperspace. With that being said, however, Starbone apparently misheard his orders and is stranded in the middle of the entire enemy formation. As the rest of the squad switch and one remaining technician along with the transport successfully leave the atmosphere and head to hyperspace, Starbone is unfortunately left to fend for himself, and while he is able to fly tricky enough to keep the enemy distracted, he does ultimately suffer a bit of a concussion, and this is going to reduce the XP he gets for this mission. All told, all party members earned 8 XP during this mission, with the exception of Starbone that earned a mere 4. After collecting themselves for a bit in their improvised camp, they receive an emergency distress call from Riri. Guys, I may have gotten in a little bit over my head. I could really use an extract now. I'm being trailed by a lot of droids. I really need some help, but I do think I have a lead on how we can get our way to Typhon if you can get me out of this. Switch, however, seems deeply unconcerned about her predicament. Look, Riri can handle herself. We already have all of the information we need to go after the facility where they're manufacturing the spice. You say the word and we hit it. After a short deliberation, the party did in fact decide to go rescue Riri instead of going directly after the spice right away. And that wraps up our video for today. If you want to keep seeing the HotAC installments and see what happens to our brave adventurers, make sure to like and subscribe. That always helps out the channel. As always, danke bitte, tschüss.